connects on your behalf to your servers and maintain the state of your servers according to a desired state that you described. Ansible connect to your remote servers or device on your behalf and execute whatever you described for it. If your server is Linux, Ansible will connect via SSH on your behalf, and if your remote server is Windows, Ansible is still able to connect but using different protocol called WinRM. With Ansible, there are two types of machines: control machine, which is the green one, and target hosts, which are the blue ones. The control machine, where we will install Ansible command line, and Ansible can run from this machine to manage the other hosts. This control machine is your laptop in this course. The target hosts are the target of Ansible, and they require only Python to be installed in order to receive the execution of Ansible effectively. While the target host can be Linux or Windows, the control machine can be only a Linux machine. If you have Windows, it is never too late. You just need to install Windows Subsystem Linux or WSL as explained here. You need to install it and you can follow along. The architecture of Ansible is now clear. We need to set up our lab environment so we can play with Ansible. Briefly, we need to install Ansible in the control machine, but also we have to create at least one machine as target host. Then we will establish the connectivity between the control machine and the target host. This is how we will prepare the environment in details. Starting by creating machine as target host. If you have already a machine as target host, so skip this step. Then make sure that the process SSH is up and running. Then create the remote user in the target host. We will go back to the control machine and we will generate a SSH key pair, private key and public key. The private key will be used during each authentication instead of the password. However, the public key will be added in the authorized keys of the target host. At this phase, we will verify that we are able to log in via the SSH using keys instead of password. This is an SSH setup regardless we are using Ansible or not. The next phase, we will install Ansible software in the control machine. Then we will verify again the authentication, but this time using Ansible command line. Before that, we need to define our target host inside a file called inventory file. Memorize this diagram as it is our reference to set up the environment. Now I let you take a cup of coffee and seeing you in the next lecture. We need a target host as discussed before, and we have many options to get the server. Either you go to the cloud and create server there like AWS EC2 instance, or you can create a local VM using VirtualBox for example, or you can make it more simple by creating containers which behave like target hosts, or even you can target the local host itself. We don't want to make this course long, so select the option where you are more comfortable. In this lecture, I will use AWS EC2 instance service to create a target host. Also, I will create another target host using container. Go to the AWS Management Console and go to the EC2 service. And from here you can launch instance. We will select the Ubuntu server and this will be our target host. And make sure you choose T2 Micro, which is free if you are in the first year of subscription with AWS. And next, configure. And here make sure that you are in the public subnet so you can connect with VSSH. After that, I will select the default VPC. And so I guarantee that I am in the public subnet. After that, I will add storage. And I don't need a lot of storage for now. Adding a tag, let's name it target host. And the security group. The security group is your firewall, and 22 is a must to connect with server. So let's keep it to 22, and I will name it this security group to sh public. Okay, and after that review and launch and create, and here I will create a new key pair. Okay, and I will name it Ohio key, and I will download the key. The key that I am downloading now is a private key. We will not use it to connect with Ansible, we just need it for the first connection with Ubuntu user. So let's create the instance. Now the instance is creating, and in the same time we have this public IP. So let's now try to connect to this machine. So sh, and because I create Ubuntu, so the user will be Ubuntu, but also I need to specify my key that I downloaded. Okay, so I will try to connect. Okay, it doesn't work because this key need a restricted permission, and we need to make sure that the private key is always with this permission 400. And now let's run it again. Cool, I am now inside the server. So we create the server on the cloud. Now another option, I will create this the server or the target host as container. This command will spin off a new container. We will forward the port of 22 of the container to the local machine to 2525, and there is other options, and the main option here is the name of the image. This image is based on Red Hat 8 and it contains SHD. Now we create the container. If we go to the target host, yes, we are now inside another target host, which is a container target host. Now we will set up the SH as explained here. So we make sure that SH is running on the target host, and we will create a user and we will generate SH key, and then we will copy the public key here, and finally we will test the connectivity. So let's get started. So we will start with the AWS EC2 instance, so SH, okay, and I will go directly to the root sudo su clear, and I will create a new user, and this user add, and this user will be for example Ansible user. Okay, now let's go back to our control machine, which is my machine, and we will execute this step. We will generate sh key pair. To generate sh key pair, I will run sh key or sh keygen. It will prompt me the path or the name of the file of the key, so I will name it Ansible user simply. Okay, enter, make it empty and clear. And now if I run ls, you will see this is my private key and this is my public key. Print the public key, so ansible.pub. This public key we need to add it to the user or to the remote user as explained here. So we will add the public key to the authorized keys. Okay, now let me copy the public key and go directly to the remote user here. I will go again to the root and I will navigate to the home directory of the new user, which we name it Ansible user. I will create a new directory sh, and inside sh I will create a new file authorized key. Okay, and inside this file I will paste this public key. We are almost done. We just need to make sure that the folder sh is owned by Ansible user. So now let's go back and exit, and now let's try to sh with the new user. But also we need to specify the other key, which is the Ansible user key, which is generated a while ago. Now let's run it. Cool, we are there now, and if I run echo user, I am in the Ansible user. So let's do the same with the other target host. So let's go into it, exec, and we need to create a user. So add user, ansible user, okay, and also we need to copy paste the public key in the authorized key file. So let's go to the home directory of this new user and create a new directory, name it sh, okay, and inside sh we will create a new file called authorized keys, okay, and for the directory we need to make sure that the owner is the new user, so it is ansible user, and the directory will be sh, and also the directory sh has this permission 700, alright, and the file itself, which is authorized key, has this permission. The authorized key is now empty, so we need to go back here and cat ansible public. Yes, we need to put the public key inside the authorized key of the target host. Exec again, and home ansible user.sh, then authorized key, and I need to put here. Alright, now let's go back and try to sh. Now to sh we need to specify the same private key because we have the same public key, and the user it is the same, but the host it will be our local host, and the port will be another port to see 2525 as we create the container, if you remember. So now go here, okay, so we have here issue of known host. Let's remove the current known host and run the command again. Alright, so yes, cool. So I can directly log in to the target host container without password but using the public key private key. We are done from this step and we are now ready to install Ansible. To install Ansible we have two options. Either we install Ansible with the native package using apt-get if it is Ubuntu, Yum if it is Red Hat, Brew if it is macOS, or install Ansible as Python package using Python package manager. We will go with this option as this option is common regardless the operating system of the control machine, and make sure that you have Python installed in your machine. Okay, I don't want to upgrade, so Python is installed. After that, make sure to install pip. After having pip downloaded, we can install it with Python 3. Now let's install Ansible. So pip 3 install Ansible and -- upgrade. You can check Ansible -- version. Cool, Ansible 2.9.6 installed. The next step is we need to define our target hosts in Ansible inventory. We can start by adding target host of Amazon to the inventory. So this is the target host of Amazon, and the inventory, let's go to the Visual Code or your editor and create a new file called inventory or any file name. Okay, the inventory is simple. It is plain text in Ansible and each line presents one host. To add Amazon target host to the inventory, we just need to copy the public IP and go here and make something like this. So Ansible host, this is a variable equal the IP of the target host, and I will name this host with the name that I choose. So let's name it EC2. For that we need to assign another variable which is the private key. So it should be Ansible private key file, which is equal this key. Also I will specify the Ansible sh user or the username that we will use to authenticate. Alright, so this is the name of the file and this is the name of the user. So let's now try it. Write the command first of sh, so sh, then the private key, then the name of the user, then the IP. So now the IP and the user and the key are defined in the inventory. That's why in Ansible we just need to specify the inventory, then what is the target that we are targeting, target host, so EC2, which is our name that we chose, and after that we just need to try with one of modules. So I will use the ping module. Okay, this works successfully. Congratulations, you run the first Ansible command line in your machine. Instead of specifying the inventory with each command, you can add it permanently inside Ansible configuration file. Ansible configuration file must be named Ansible CFG. Create it now in the current directory. We will deep dive into Ansible config file in later section. But for now, we will specify only the inventory file as following. Inside the section defaults, we will add a new key called inventory, and the value will be the path of our inventory. Save the file and go back here. I will try with the inventory before it works, and try now without inventory. It should work also because the inventory in the ansible.cfg. Cool. Previous lecture, we created a second target host as container using this command, and we were able to log in or to SSH to this target host using this command. You may wonder, how can Ansible connect to this target host? The answer is simple. You just need to take note of the sh command to parse the variable that we will add in the inventory. As we define the EC2 target host in the inventory, we have here the same private key file, and we have the same remote user name, but we have different host, which is local host, not public IP, and we have different SH port, which is 25. I will copy this command and I will go to the inventory, and here I will put the command as comment, and now I will conclude the inventory from this command. So I will name it container, and the Ansible host will be localhost, this one, and the Ansible private key and the Ansible SH user is the same. Then we have a new variable Ansible SH port, which is 25. Alright, so this is what we have. So the name is container. Let's try now to connect with Ansible, and Ansible-i, the inventory path, then the name of the host, which is container, and I will use the ping module. Cool, it works as well. Can you write a bash script or any script without commands? Never ever. Commands are the primary materials of any script. For example, if you want to create a directory, you have to use command like makedir. If you want to create a file, you have to use command like touch. If you want to restart a service, you have to use a command like systemctl. And if you want to install a package, you have to use command like yum or apt-get. The same for Ansible modules. Ansible cannot interact with its target hosts without modules. Even when we try to check the connectivity, we used a module called ping in the previous lecture. For example, if you want to create a directory or file module will be used. If you want to deal with a service module must be used. If you want to install a package module can be used. And if you want to copy a file from the control machine to the target machine, copy module is the best. Now you got it. You cannot work with Ansible without modules. So you may wonder, where can I find the full list of Ansible modules? Simply, ad hoc command is your friend. This command will list all modules with a short description for each module. I can search on file module, for example, starting by file, and this is the module and this is the description. And if I want to get a full description and documentation of file module, I quit and Ansible doc, and after that I put the name of the module itself, and I get a full documentation of the module. Now how can I use Ansible module? In bash script, you use command, and each command has options and argument, like makedir is the command and -p and temp data is the options. In Ansible, you will use module, and each module has attributes or parameters. Also, module can be used in imperative paradigm using the ansible ad hoc command, or in declarative paradigm using the ansible playbook. For this section, we will focus on the ansible ad hoc command, and for the next sections, we will tackle the ansible playbooks. See here, this is how it looks in the ansible ad hoc command, and this is how it looks in the ansible playbook. So let's try out the file module. I will run ansible and I will target EC2, and I will use the module file, and the attribute I can find it in the documentation. So file module has many attributes. So the first one is the path directory, for example, name it temp data, and the state will be directory. Alright, and let's run it. Cool, the directory is created. So let's log into the server and verify that. I run ls-l temp, and this is the data directory has been created. If you want to know more about a file module, so you run ansible doc, and you can go directly to examples, and you can see here some examples. So this is the name of the module, and this is the attribute. This is the name of the module, and this attribute with other values, so on and so forth. We will get our hands more dirty with ansible modules before proceeding with playbooks. I opened here 3 terminals. At the left, this is the terminal of the control machine, which is my host. And at the right, I have 2 terminals. The top one is the EC2 target host, and at the bottom is the other target host, the container host. We always run ansible module in the control machine, and we validate the expected result in the target host. In this lecture, we will see how we can copy file from the control machine to the target host. I have here the control machine, and I have many files. I have, for example, inventory get pip. So let's say I want to copy the inventory file inside the target host. How can I do? Without using Ansible, for sure you will use scp command, but with Ansible, if you want to copy a file intuitively, you will use the module copy. So let's check the documentation of copy module. So ansible doc and the name of the module. I am here now, and I can go directly to the examples. Here I am copy this file from the source, and the source always is the control machine, and the destination always is the target host. So to copy file, you just need to specify the source and destination, and you may specify other option. For our case, we will specify Ansible, and I will target the EC2, which is this target host at the top, and -m the module, which is copy, and the attributes I need source equals something and destination equals something. So the source will be inventory, and the destination will be home Ansible user. Why? Because here the home directory is Ansible user. I want to copy this file here. So let's run the command now. The file is copied. Let's validate now and run ls. See here, the file is there. One more thing, we have the keyword changed in the output, and the output color is yellow. This is because Ansible module compare the desired state, which is our command, with the actual state of the target server before executions. And if the target server is already in the desired state, Ansible module will do nothing. This is the meaning of idempotent module, which means that Ansible module, like copy here, can be run safely multiple times, and if the target host is already in the desired state, they will do nothing. Let's run the same command again. Since the desired state, which is our command, meet the actual state, Ansible reports the success and the output color becomes green. This is one of the main differentiators of Ansible comparing with bash scripting and other alternatives. In this lecture, we will see how we can add a line in a file. This is our file, and after adding the line, the file will look like this. The file is here, so firstly, I will copy this file to the target host, then I will use a new module to add the line to this file. So the file is in ad hoc prod, so this is the file. I will use the module copy first of all to copy the file, and the attribute will be the source, so it is ad hoc folder and prod.env. This is the source, and destination as usual we'll put it in the home directory. Alright, okay, so the file is copied, it is here, and next we will add a new line to this file. So what is the module that allow us to add a new line in a file? Again, ansible doc is your friend, so ansible doc list, and we can search online in file. You will see here there is a module called line in file, and if we check the documentation of this module, you can go to examples and you can see here how it looks like. So line in file, we will specify the path of the file and the line that we will add. Okay, so ansible, we will target EC2 again, and now we will use line in file, and the attribute is path, and the path in the target host is home, ansible user, and prod.env, and we will add a new line, and the line will be something like this: React, for example, app API equal https api.example.com. Let's go now to the target host and check the content of the file. Cool, so the new line has been added to the file. If we want to install a package on our server, we will run the command apt-get install if it is Ubuntu, and it is Ubuntu now, but if it is Red Hat, you will run yum install and the name of the package that we will install. For our case, we will install nginx, which is the package of web server. With Ansible, we can use the module package to do the same mission. Let's check the documentation of this module. This module installs, upgrade, and remove packages using the underlying OS package manager. This module actually calls the pertinent package modules for each system, apt-get, yum, etc. And if we check also the example, this module is simple. Just give the name of the package and the state: present to install it, absent to delete it. So let's run it, Ansible, and we will target the EC2, which is this target host, and we will use the package module and the attribute, the name of the package, which is nginx, and the state is present. Oops, we were not able to install the package nginx because the remote user of the target host that we are using, it was used without sudo. To use sudo with the ansible command, we need to run the command with become extension. So let me clear the screen and run it with become. And for sure this command will not work also because the ansible user that we are using here is not one of sudoers. We will see in the next lecture how we grant sudo access to the user of the target host. In the previous lecture, we were not able to install the package nginx because ansible user that we are using to target the host does not have the sudo access. In this lecture, we will see how we can grant the ansible user the right access to do that. Briefly, we need to do two steps. One in the target host, which is making the user belong to sudoers, and the next step in the control machine to configure the user with become options. So let's start with the first step. We need to log in with a user that have sudo, so we can grant the ansible user the access. So let me exit and log in with sh-i and the other user, which is Ubuntu user for our case, and after that we will go to root. Then let me clear the screen. Then we can go to cd etc sudoers.d. In this directory we will add a new file, and I will name it ansible user as the name of the user. It's not mandatory, but this as convention. So I will open the file, and here I will write the syntax of sudo, which grant ansible user everything. So starting by the name of the user, so the name of user is ansible user, then all mean all hosts, then all mean all users, then all mean all groups, and all mean all command. But also I need a passwordless sudo, so I have to add no pass wd. Now let me save the file and exit, and let me now log in with the other user, which is ansible user. Now let's try again, clear again, and sudo su. Cool, ansible user is now able to log in and to execute sudo. And now let me try to install ansible again. So ansible package module, name nginx, and state equal present, and become, which mean use sudo. You can see here that nginx has been installed. We can validate that by going to the target host again and run systemctl status nginx. See here, it is installed, but not only that, it was also running. So if I run curl localhost, we have nginx up and running on port 80. During all previous lecture, we were executing module using the ansible ad hoc command. Ansible ad hoc command is useful when we want to execute a single ansible task quickly, or sometime we need it for a quick tests. However, we cannot execute a sequence of tasks in a reproducible manner with ansible ad hoc command. Also, we cannot track the history of changes in this way. Indeed, if the history of your terminal is deleted, you will not able to reproduce these commands easily. Alternatively, Ansible provides another way to run modules called playbook. A playbook is simply a text file in YAML format. For example, to migrate the first ad hoc command to a playbook file, we just need to define the module file with its attribute in this format. The name of the module file is here, then we make a space, then we define the attribute with its value in a key value pair format. Before start writing playbooks, you need to know one thing: YAML. YAML is the main language to write Ansible playbooks. That's why it's worth spending some time to understand the YAML language before tackling playbooks. YAML is simple. It is an alternative of JSON. If you know JSON, you are done and you just need to know the syntax of YAML. This is a YAML example at the right side, and it is simply a key value pair. Key at the left and value at the right. In line 1, event is the key and DevOps days is the value. This value is of type string, the same for the next line. However, the value can be also a nested object like line 3, where the key is location. However, the value is the whole block from line 4 to line 10. The address again is another nested object, includes lines, city, and postal keys. A value can be also an array. See line 12? We have topics as a key, but the value of topics is an array. Each minus present a one element inside an array. We have two minus, this means we have two elements in this array. Each element is of type key pair or key value pair in this example. Also, YAML supports multi-line string. See lines 7 and 8, where we have lines as key and its value is a string, but it is multiple line string. Last not least, we can write comments inside YAML file like line 11. I think I will save your day if I show you the conversion of this YAML to JSON. See here? This is our YAML and this is the conversion to JSON. If you are comfortable with JSON, you will get all points explained of this YAML. This is even the key and this is the key, and location is nested object as value and the topic's value is in array. Also, I prepared for you an exercise just to master YAML. You can check the solution using a converter. However, I advise you to try it on your own before. This JSON, I want from you to convert the JSON to YAML. Good luck. So simply, a playbook is a text file written in YAML format, as it is illustrated at the right side. Each playbook is a list of plays to run in order. In this example, the playbook has 2 plays. Play 1 from the beginning to line 11 and play 2 from line 12 till the end. Each play has a list of tasks that targets a specific host. In this example, play 1 targets all hosts and it defines 2 tasks from line 4 to line 11, and play 2 target DB hosts and it defines only 1 task from line 15 till the end. One more thing, each task is a call of one module. In this example, the first task is a call of the file module. The second task is a call of the copy module, so on and so forth. If you feel you are not comfortable with the YAML structure, please check the previous lecture. In this lecture, we will write a basic Ansible playbook and run it using the Ansible playbook command. This playbook consists of the following tasks. The first task will create a file, and the second task will create another, and the last task will archive these 2 files in zip format. So let's create our first playbook. So we will name it first playbook.yaml, and the minimum key value of playbook is hosts and tasks. Simply, this is what we need. So we will target as usual the EC2, which is here in our inventory. This is EC2, and again the inventory is defined in the ansible.tcg. This is the flow, and because we have EC2, we can use it in the playbook here. And the second one is tasks, and we have 3 tasks. So we will use for the first task copy module, and in the second task we'll use the copy module, and for the last task we will use the archive module. So for the first one, we need to create a file hello. So copy can take a source and destination, but also instead of the source we can give a string using the content attribute. So I name it here hello here, okay, and destination will be this destination. Alright, so the same for the second task. I will copy it, paste here, and the name of the file will be hi. And the last one, we have archive. Archive module is a new module, so we can check the documentation using ansible doc and archive, and directly we go to examples. In the examples, we have this example where we can archive multiple files, and we put destination and we choose the format. For our case, we'll use the zip format. So let me copy this one, take it here. Okay, so this is the copy paste of this module. So we need to change it with our value. We need to archive this file plus this file, and the destination will be, for example, temp hh.zip. The format will be zip. format. So let's run it now. So to run a playbook, it is very simple. Just ansible playbook and give it the path of your playbook. Before that, we can check the syntax. It is okay. So we can remove syntax check and run it. Always playbook start by gathering facts. We didn't specify this task, but by default playbook start by this hidden task. And gather fact will gather all criteria of your server. If it is Ubuntu or Red Hat or another operating system, the memory, the disk, the CPU and everything. So now this is the first task, which is copy. Change it so the file is copied, and here we have another copy. We can go directly also to the server here and watch the changes. See here, hello, hi, created, and now archiving. So here, yes, this archive has been created. Congratulations, we run the first playbook. In Ansible playbook, you can assign a name for each play and for each task. The name key is optional, but it is recommended because it can be considered as documentation of your playbook plays and tasks. Let me now add names to our first playbook. So this is the play, and we have 1, 2, 3 tasks. We can add name for the play here, play management, and for copy we can give it a name. Hello file is copied. The same for the other. And the same for the last. Now let's run it. See here, the name of the play appear here. It's not like the first one. Also the name of the task appear here is not like the first one, which is copy only. The same for the other, and the same for the last. We will raise the bar more, and we will write a playbook that makes sure that a web server is installed, and after that we will deploy our custom static website from this source code. So let's go to the source code. Here we have our example of static website, and here we have this branch Ansible course. We have only one index.html file, and we want to deploy this file to be served by Nginx web server. So let's get started. As usual, we start by hosts, and we will target on our case EC2 from our inventory, and we have also tasks. And for tasks, the first task we need to make sure that the web server is installed, and for that we will use the module package with attribute name Nginx. The state of the package should be present. This is the first task. The second task, we need to make sure that the web server after being installed is up and running. So we will use this service module, and the service module accept attribute name, and the name of the service is Nginx, and the state is started. At this level we can run the playbook and check what will happen. So first of all, let's take the IP of our web server and check that the web server is not running. After that we can run the playbook. So Ansible playbook, playbooks 02. Alright, so I will run it. This will install, or will make sure that the web server is installed, then make sure that the web server is up and running. And this task should fail because this task requires sudo to be run. Why? Because here we have permission denied. So to use sudo, we have two options. Either we put become option in the level of the play. See here, hosts become tasks. Or we can put the become option at the level of the command line. Now because we put it at the level of the play, so we don't need become here, and we can run again. And the web server is up. Now if we go back to our web server and run it, we will see that the Nginx running but without any file. Now we will deploy our website, and this page should be replaced by our page. To deploy our index.html, we need to use a module called URI. So we will say static website is deployed. And the static website consists only of the index.html. For that we will use the URI module, and URI accept URL and destination. For the URL we can get it from GitHub and click raw, so you get a direct link. Click copy this one and put it in the URL, and after that the destination. For nginx the root directory is var html. Alright, and if you are using another operating system, it can be user share nginx html. Okay, for our case we need also to make sure that this directory is created before, so here we can write another task, which is web server root directory is created or exists. Alright, so we'll use for that the file module, and we specify the path, which is this path, and the state should be directory. Alright, so let's run it now. Okay, so this is expected okay here, and we have here change it. This is because Ansible is idempotent. Cool, so the web server root directory exists, and now the static website, which is the index.html, will be deployed. Now let's go here and check. Congratulations, you deploy your web application using Ansible. One of the best practices on coding is to not repeat yourself. In the previous lecture, when we installed nginx, we specify nginx word here and here. Also we specify var html here and here. Ansible supports variable, and using variable is simple. You just need here to specify your list of variable, and I will name it, for example, the web server variable, and the value is nginx. Also I need another variable, web server root dir, and it will be var html. So now to use the variable name instead of the value, we just need here to replace this value by the variable, and the variable syntax is simple. Just go here, starting by double curly brackets, put the name of the variable and close it by another double curly brackets. The same for the nginx here, and the same for web server root directory here and here. So now let's run the playbook again and check that everything is okay. Go here and run playbook. Cool, nothing changed because we just refactor our code to use variable instead of hard coding values. With Ansible, not all names can be a variable name. Ansible requires two things for the variable name. Firstly, the variable name must start by a letter. Lastly, the variable name must include only letters, numbers, or and underscore. Let's take the following example. The first example, www-server, is not valid because it contains dash. And the second one is not valid because of two things. It starts by number, not letter, and it contains dash, which is not supported in the variable name. The third one also is not valid because it contains $, which is not supported. And the last one is valid because it meets the requirement. We can assign values to playbook variable from different location and scope. The first location is the command line. When you run Ansible playbook command and you specify your YAML file, you can specify the variable and value using the extra vars option. The second location is the play itself. We can specify the variable as following using vars keyword in the play, or we can use also external file where we put our variable and we import the variable file with the vars files. The third location is the inventory. If you remember the inventory, we have the EC2 host, and we have Ansible host is a variable equal a value. Ansible host is a predefined variable, and web server is our custom variable, and we can put it in the front of the host. The order of precedence as following. Variable assigned by the command line has the highest priority, then variable assigned by the play, then variable assigned by inventory. To have more visibility about the value of the variable used by the playbook, we can use a module called debugging. Debug module will print the value of the variable using the var attribute. So here we can pass web server. And better than var, we can specify a whole message. and the message will say that the value of web server is the variable web server. Now if we try to run this playbook, which is 04, run it. Okay, I will cancel. See here, the value of the web server is nginx. Now if we run the command again, but using the command line variable, which is extravars, and specify the web server to be equal, for example, HTTPD, which is Apache, and run it, I will cancel again. You will see here that the value of the web server is HTTPD. This is because the variable assigned by the command line has the highest precedence. So far, we test two variable scopes, the global scopes using the command line and the play scopes using the vars. In this lecture, we will see the third scope, which is the inventory or the host scope. To add variable with host scope, we need to go to the inventory file, and we can specify the variable on the front of the host. We have here EC2 host, and we have this predefined variable, another predefined variable, and another predefined variable. And here we can specify the web server or our custom variable web server equal Tomcat. Now if we go back to our playbook, we have also the variable defined here, but because the play will take precedence, if we will run this playbook, this will be replaced by nginx, not Tomcat. Let's try it. So as expected, the host scope doesn't take effect. So to force the host scope to take effect, we need to remove this variable from the play scope. And now let's run it again. Cool. So here nginx, but here we get the value from the inventory. One more thing, this value has been considered because the EC2, which is the host, is used in the play. Otherwise, if we are using another host, this value will not come. Variables with the play scope mean that this variables has been defined in the play file itself. We have already used this syntax, which is the embedded variable, and in this lecture we will see how we can externalize the variable in an external file and import the file with the vars files. So we have here two variables and we can externalize them in a file called variable. So I will create a new file under directory vars. I will create a file called 06vars.yaml, and I will go back and use this file instead of the embedded file variables. I will specify var files, and it is an array, and I will specify the path to my vars, and this variable will be migrated to the file as following. Here, and we will put here, and we don't need the indentation. Now let's run the playbook again. Cool, this works without any error. The reason of using variable is not always to avoid repeating yourself. However, you can use variable for other purpose. In the continuous integration, continuous deployment pipeline, you may need to pass values to the playbook. In our case, we are installing this website, and this website is link, and in this link we can see here the Ansible course is the branch, and we can create another branch and update the index to HTML. We can make this branch as variable. Let's try it. Get branch. Right. And the default value will be Ansible course. Now if we go back to our website, we can make a modification here. For example, we can change the background of this file. Let's go to body, and to remove the background we can remove this one. Okay, and we may change also the title to v2. Alright, so let's make the change in the GitHub. Go here and we will create a new branch, name it Ansible course index v2. Now let's make the new version of our index. First of all, we need to remove the background in the body, so here we need to remove it as tested, and also we need to add here version 2 or v2. Now let's commit this change in the new branch, which is ansible course index v2. And now we can run the playbook with the new variable of get branch to be this branch, ansible course index v2. So let's try it. Extraverse, and our variable is get branch equal will be this value, ansible course index v2. The variable in the command line take the highest precedence, that's why this variable will be overridden. So let's run it, and while running, let's refresh our page now. So this is our page, and after running the playbook, we expect that the playbook will point to the index.html of the new branch, which is ansible course index v2, and for sure our home page will be changed. Cool, let's now refresh the page. Congratulations, we are able to deploy another version of the website using a single command. This command can be embedded inside the CI/CD continuous integration, continuous deployment pipeline. If we want to roll back, we just need to run the same command but using the previous branch. So let's check now the website. For sure, we roll back. This means if you consider a rollback stage in your CI/CD pipeline, you can do it smoothly with Ansible. I want to explain the registered variable in Ansible using a funny comparison and similarity between the famous programming language and the YAML format of Ansible. At the left, we have some famous programming language like Java, JavaScript, Bash, and at the right, we have the Ansible playbook in the YAML format. If you wrote code before like JavaScript, Java, Go, you will get my explanation 100% and you will appreciate it as well. So let's get started. The green color presents the function at the left and the module at the right, which is the alternative with Ansible. The similarity here is that the function must exist before calling it. The same in Ansible, the module must be available before using it in a task. The black color is about the whole block. At the left we have instruction and at the right we have a task. The blue color presents the input of the call. At the left we have arguments like 3, 5 in the case of JavaScript, and we have file.txt as argument in the case of Bash programming. At the right, the concept is the same but the terminology is different. In Ansible they called attributes or parameters. The red color presents the output of the call. As we have input, we have also output. Each function returns a value. The same with Ansible, each task has an input. To save the value of the input, we define a variable like result A and we use the equal sign to assign the output value to the variable. At the right, it is almost the same. We define a variable result A for the output. However, we assign the output value to the variable using not the equal sign, however we use the register keyword. That's why this kind of variable are named registered variables, as it registers, capture the output of the task. Also, this kind of variable is not defined before running the playbook. Instead, it becomes available at runtime. As example, we have this playbook and we can use register as following. So, under the task, the same indentation here, we write register and we assign a variable. Let's name it nginx install output. Now this variable is registered. We can use it in different way. We can print in the terminal using the debug module, and the debug module already accepts variable and we can put this variable here. Also we can use this variable and we can copy as content to a remote file. So we will copy the output using the copy module and copy here, and the content will be this variable. Okay, so I will put this here. Okay, so exactly, and I will copy it to destination. Let's name it temp task 1 output. Alright, so The variable is defined and it is available at runtime. It is used after that for the subsequent tasks. Let's run the playbook. So debug module print the output. So this is the output of the variable nginx install output, and the same variable value will be copied inside a file in the remote machine. So let's go to the remote machine. Here I go and write temp task. Cool. You see that we can handle a variable at runtime. Ansible starts any playbook by a hidden task or task 0, which is gather facts. Gather facts task use a module called setup. Once gather facts run, it populates a runtime variable named ansible facts. Under this variable, we get a lot of information about the remote host, like the host name, the frequently qualified domain name, the kernel or the OS kernel, the distribution of the operating system and of the host, is it Red Hat, Ubuntu, CentOS, and so on and so forth. Even we can get the size of each disk partition. In this example, we access the size information of the first partition. If you want to turn off gather facts at the beginning of any playbook, you just need to add gather facts equal no. We can get the full variable ansible facts by using the awesome module debug, and we can write print ansible facts here, and we use debug to print the variable. Debug accept variable, and we will put here ansible facts. Let's run the playbook. Alright, so this is a long object named gather facts. Let me redirect the output to a file named facts. Alright, so let's go to the facts. We have facts here. So this is the output of the playbook. We have gathering facts and we print the ansible fact. So the ansible fact is a big object, include every information about the remote host. So let's copy this object and inspect it. Alright, so the best way to inspect this object is to use the JavaScript console. So we can inspect the console, and here I will create a new variable called ansible facts equal this object. Alright, so let's now see what is this variable. So ansible facts dot, for example, host name, give you the host name, and ansible facts dot frequently qualified domain name, it will give domain name. Ansible facts the distribution, it will give you the distribution, so on and so forth. Now if you want to turn off the gather facts feature, we just need to go here and add gather facts equal no at the level of the play attributes. Now let's run the playbook again. For sure, the ansible facts is empty. When Ansible iterates through your hosts to execute tasks, Ansible populates 4 variables related to the current host. These variables are not set explicitly by you or by inherited task. Also, these variables are not set by facts that we saw in the previous lectures. However, these variables came as a gift from Ansible. That's why we are calling it magic variables. These variables are inventory host name, host vars, group names, groups. We will explain these variables in the next section as we need to deep dive into inventory before. Now just take a note about these variables and we will tackle them soon. Starting from this section, we will expand our inventory to include many servers. So we can simulate a real-world case of using Ansible where Ansible targets many servers at the same time. Our scenario will be as following. We will have a multi-environments for the static web application that we deployed in the previous sections. Basically, we will have 2 environments, dev, which include 1 machine, and production environment, which consists of 2 machines. Also, we will create OS users and we will grant them access to the servers as per their role, either developer or sysops admin. I have created this machine in AWS dev1, prod1 and prod2. I will show how I am SH to the servers so we can conclude how we can add them to inventory. sh-a, the key, and I will use here the Ubuntu user and I will use the IP of the server. See, I am able to sh to the server. The same for the others, this prod2 and prod1 and dev1. So let's add them to the inventory. I will copy this command as we did before. I will go here. This is our inventory file. I have here a trick. This file can be formatted to any file. This will give you more pretty syntax for you. Alright, so let's ignore the previous hosts and let's start now as from scratch. So we will have dev1 machine, prod1 and prod2. Alright. Okay, so this is the command line that I used. So as we did with the previous hosts, we will have this variable ansible host, and we will have ansible sh user, and we have another variable ansible private key. So for the sh user, we have always Ubuntu, and for the sh key, we will have also always this one. We can copy this now here and here and here. However, for the host, we have different IP. So for the dev1, this is our IP, and for the prod1, this is our IP, and for the prod2, this is our IP. Alright, so now we complete adding our servers to the inventory. Okay, so let's test now the connectivity with Ansible. So Ansible, and we will target dev1, and we will use Bing module. Cool, it works. Now let's target prod1. Cool, it works as well. Now let's target prod2. Cool, we add all our hosts to the inventory. Ansible inventory does not define only hosts, but it can define also a group of hosts. For our case, we need to target the two production servers as one group. How can we define a group in Ansible inventory? The answer is simple. You need to create a group as following. The name of the group, let's say prod, must be surrounded between two brackets. And it must be in a separated line. Now, to add hosts under this group, we just need to list the name of hosts under the group. For our case, we need to add this host and this host. So it will be prod1 belong to the prod group and prod2 belong to the prod group. Now we can target the two machines as one group using Ansible command. So Ansible, I will target the whole group and I will use the module ping. Cool. So this is the response of the prod1 server, and this is the response of the prod2. As we were able to target a group using the Ansible ad hoc command, we can also target a group inside a playbook using the same key hosts. Hosts key accepts host name from the inventory. It accepts also the group from the inventory or both. In this lecture, we will target the group prod, this group, and we will install the package nginx. So let's get started. To target a group, we just need to put the group name prod here, and we will create our first task. So nginx is installed, and we will use the package module with attribute name, which is nginx, and state present. Also, we need to run display with become true, which means use sudo. So let's run the playbook. Because the group includes two hosts, Ansible target host by host, starting by prod1, then prod2. The same for the other tasks. So here see, it installed nginx in the prod2, then in prod1. So let's now check system ctl status nginx. See, nginx is installed, but not only that, it is also running. We can check the other host as well. systemctl status nginx. Great, it works for both hosts. This is because prod 1 and prod 2 belong to the group prod, which is used in the playbook. As we can define variables for each host, we can define variable for group. We can notice that prod 1 and prod 2 has the same value for this variable and this variable. So we can move this variable shuser and private key file to the group. To define variable for the group, we just need to define prod again, but we need to put colon then vars, and under this line we define the variable. So let's move the common variable to the group and put it here. So we don't need the variable for the prod 2 as well. One more thing, not like host variable where all variable in the same line. For the group variable, each variable has its single line. Now let's try to run the command again, ansible prod and ping, and check that it works. Cool, it works. So this is how we define variable for a group, and if the variable belongs to the group, it belongs implicitly to the hosts of this group. In one of previous lectures, we created this playbook, if you remember, and this playbook install nginx, make the service nginx up and running, then it deploy the single web page index.html as well as static website. Also, in this previous lecture, we put the branch as variable. However, this variable is a play scoped variable. In this lecture, we will take the same playbook. However, we will migrate this variable to be attached to the host or a group of hosts. Why? Because we want to deploy, let's say, version 1 on development servers and version 2 in prod servers. To do that, we have to migrate the variable from the play to the hosts or to the inventory. So let's get started. So first of all, let me copy this and put it in our empty file here. This is the first thing. The second thing, we need to target not EC2, we will target prod and dev. We don't have a dev group, so for consistency, we will create another group called dev, even if it includes one server. So actually, we have dev group with one server and prod group with two servers. Here I will target both, and to target both I just need to put comma between the two groups. Also, I need to migrate the git branch from the play to be here in the inventory. For the production, we will put here the variable, and for production, let's say we will use the version 2, which is this version, ansible course index v2. Alright, so we will put here, and for the dev, we need also to create a section for the variable of dev group. And for the dev, we will use git branch, but we will use the version 1 or ansible course, which is the version 1. By that, we can target all inside the same play. However, because the variable is attached to the host, so Ansible will pick the right value according to the host in the loop of iteration. So let's run the playbook now. Makes sense. So we are targeting 3 hosts because prod has 2 and dev group has 1. So the total is 3. Now Ansible is installing the web server. So the nginx was installed in prod 1 and prod 2 in the previous lecture. That's why no change, but dev 1 will be changed. Server is up and running. Cool. So the deployment is done. Now let's check the server dev 1, prod 1 and prod 2. we go to the inventory, and for dev1 we have this IP. We can check the deployed website. Cool. So this is the version 1. For the prod, we have this IP. So this is the version 2. Great, as expected. So prod, go with the version 2, and for the prod 2 it should be the same as prod 1 because they belong to the same group, and we assign to the prod group git branch with version 2. Cool. So now using Ansible you are able to deploy a specific version to environment and another version to the other environment. Congratulations. We mentioned magic variables in one of previous lectures. However, we didn't try out this variable because that time we didn't have a large inventory. As now we have inventory with hosts and group, it makes sense to use the magic variable inside the playbook. So let's write a playbook that print these variables: inventory host name, host vars, group names and groups, and let's inspect the result. Here I have the play. I will target all groups, dev and prod groups, and the tasks, it will be print. So print, let's say inventory host name. This is the first task. Then I will print the variable host vars. Then I will print the variable group names. And lastly, I will print the magic variable also, groups. And to print a variable, we use the debug module. So it will be var and this one host name, the same for others. Okay, let's run the playbook now. So Ansible playbook, and I will redirect the result to a temp file. Cool. So let's check this file now. Magic temp. Alright. So the inventory host name is the name of the host that we specify for each host. So for dev1 it is dev1, prod1 is prod1, so on and so forth. The host vars, as explained, is a key value pair, where the key is the name of the host. So container, dev, c2, prod1, prod2, and the value is the variable of that host. We have a lot of variables because we enable the Ansible facts. You can see here also the git branch belong to this variable. So host vars should be the same. It include all variable for all hosts. However, group names is only a list of group where the current host belong. Because the current host is dev1, so the group names include only dev, because dev group includes dev1. Prod1, we have prod group. Prod2, we have prod group as well. Groups list all groups in a key value format, where the key is the name of the group and the value is a list of hosts belong to that group. However, we have two groups that we didn't define. So dev and prod we defined explicitly. So from where we have the all group and in-grouped group. Actually, Ansible creates these groups for you. All group will include all hosts in the inventory. And in-grouped group is a group created by Ansible by default, and it includes all hosts that doesn't have a group. If we want to list the variables of any host, we use to write a playbook and print the variables. Ansible provides a command line interface called Ansible Inventory that is useful here, where we can list the variable of any host. So it should be Ansible and inventory, then host, then we specify the name of the host, this dev1. See here, we can see the variable in a JSON format. To attach a variable to a host, we used to do that inside the inventory file itself, where the variable is defined in the front of the host in the same line. This is one of ways to assign variables to host. However, this way is not recommended as it does not scale. Imagine that you have 10 variables for each host, and you will end up with a long line. Also, you will not able to define nested object variable like YAML format. Ansible provides other ways to assign a variable to your host. Simply, you need to create a directory named host vars in the same working directory of the inventory file. Then create a file with the same name of the host. If the host name, for example, dev1, this file will be dev1.yaml. And all variable defined inside this file will be assigned to that host by Ansible conventions. This is a good option, but it is not the best, as all variable must be inside the same file. This means I cannot divide my variable to be encrypted variable and other non-encrypted. The third way is more dynamic. Instead of putting the variable inside a file with the same host name, you can create mini files inside a directory now with the same host name. Here we have file and here we have directory. This is the best and this is scale. The same for the group variable. We used to assign variable for the group of hosts inside the inventory file using the :var syntax. However, Ansible provides two other ways like the case of host vars. Inside file with this path, group vars, group name.yaml, and the best one is inside a directory with the same group name. It is similar like host vars, however here we have the directory group vars instead of host vars. So let's migrate our variable from the inventory file to be inside a directory with the same host name or with the same group name. In this lecture, I will migrate the variable from the inventory file to the host vars folder and group vars folder. So firstly, let's create these folders. This is host vars and this is group vars. Alright, starting by the host variables. To migrate the variable of dev1 host from the file to the host vars, it is simple. Create a folder here in the host vars with the same name of the host. So here host vars, I will create another folder called dev1. So this is another folder. Inside this folder, I will create a new file and I will name it any name. Alright, now going back to the inventory and take all this variable from here, cut them and make it a clean inventory with the host name only and move it to this file. See here, it is vars.yaml under the same name of the host under host vars. Now, to migrate this variable here, we need to write it in YAML syntax. Ansible host in YAML syntax will be like this, using colon instead of equal. The same for this one. And the same for the last variable. Replacing equal by colon. Alright, so we don't need this one. And this is done. Now to verify that all variables are migrated, we just need to run an Ansible inventory again. So Ansible inventory host dev. See here, it is the same variable list. We can do the same with the group variables. So here we have the get branch variable belong to the dev group. So because dev is a group, so we need to use the group vars. Under group vars, we'll create a folder with the same group name, which is dev1. And under dev1, we will create a new file with any name, vars, let's say, .yaml. And here I will migrate this variable group to this file, and for sure I will replace equal by colon. Alright, now let's check again. Because dev1 belong to dev group, so get branch is here, ansible course. If I change it, for example, to any value, for example, something, okay, save it and run it again, see here something changed. So this hierarchy take effect. vars.yaml, which is under the folder with the same name of the group, and this folder is under group vars folder.